All right. So I'm not sure the latency on this, but we're trying it out. This is going to be the first live stream here on YouTube using a external software. So go ahead and drop a comment as soon as you join. Please let me know if everything sounds good, if everything looks good. Of course, if you have topics you want me to talk about tonight, please let me know in the comment sections below. Cool. Okay, so the chat is working as I can see my own comment. I wonder how we do the display capture. Okay, bear with me. I'm going to try something. If we switch this. And how about that? Nope. Yes. How does that look? How does this look? Here we go. Okay. So does not have, it's lower than record. Okay. So this does not have, bear with me, we're having fun right now. This does not have my face on it. I will figure this out slowly but surely. Surely, get it? Surely. Let's see. What do we want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen? So I saw Olympia TV. They, what is their channel called? Olympia TV, right? There it is, Olympia TV. So they had a, I don't think this is it. This is something else. Hopefully I'm not blocked. TK Gundi is one of the talkers, one of the voices here on the show. Top America USA. What is that? Oh, it's something else. Okay. Anywho, he had an interesting take on Nick Walker and people of that nature. I know Desktop Bodybuilding, Xavier Willis, talked about it in his recent video. And kind of the conversation around it was people like Nick Walker, Big Ramy, and maybe even Michael Krizo are not going to be doing so well possibly in the coming years as we look at what the judges are looking for in bodybuilding. And they kind of made the comparison of looking at people like Rafael Brandao, looking at his physique and saying like, hey, like this guy is the most complete bodybuilder out there right now. And you know, when you look at him, like, do you see any missing body parts? Do you see any spots that aren't crazy conditioned and complete, you know? And I'm not going to argue too much with that. I do think Rafael Brandao has a good physique, very complete. I love how he has the conditioning and the separation going all the way up into the posing trunks. But I will say that he still needs to grow a little bit, especially in the hamstring department from the back. It's not enough right now to beat out some of the other guys that we have when we look at the top 6 at the Olympia. Now, I've been very vocal about Rafael Brandao being one of my favorite guys. And the question is, how much higher can he go in the Olympia standings? How much higher can he get in placings with the package he has now? And how much muscle does he need to put on to be more competitive? You know, possibly does he need to sacrifice the midsection at all to place higher? Now, I hope that that's not the answer. I definitely don't want to see Raf sacrificing too much muscle in the midsection in order to move up in placings. He is one of my more favorite open pros, especially when you look at like the classic look of the guy. I've been very vocal about my support for him. I very much do enjoy his shape and his structure. And this is, in my opinion, this is going to be what bodybuilding, or at least what the IFBB, the NPC, and people of that nature, I think that that's what they're going to be looking for in the coming years. And that's going to be that narrative that they're starting to push. And you saw it at the Arnold Classic. They're going to start pushing for taller, more aesthetic, more Sean Roden-esque physiques, maybe even a Brandon Curry with legs. That's going to be something that the IFBB, the NPC, the Manions, whoever else you want to put in there, the top judges, that's going to be that narrative, and anyone else who's paid by them to promote and speak for them to push this rhetoric. And if you do not think that that is a possibility, and you do not think that that is happening at some scale, you are living under a rock. Now, maybe it's not as widespread as maybe some of us might think. You know, you look at the Arnold Classic, you look at Big Ramy coming in more improved than he did at the Olympia, and I'll pull Big Ramy up in just a second. You look at Big Ramy, and he did come in better. He did come in sharper than he did at the Olympia. The conditioning in the legs was a tad bit harder, and the lines were a little bit more visible. The arms still, there's still that discrepancy in the arms. You look at the left arm to the right arm, there's definitely some discrepancy. You look at the lower back, especially from the back double, there's still that question mark when you look at it. I'm not going to lie, it's still there. But it's very hard to debate saying that Big Ramy is not improved when you look at the Olympia coming into the Arnold. And looking at this photo, I think he does look better. But if we were to put him side by side next to Samson Dauda or Andrew Jacked, the legs are not as conditioned. The legs are not as complete. And that is what the judges are looking at, especially when you look at Big Ramy. Are the legs conditioned? Are they separated? Is there a somewhat aesthetic feel to the legs? And if it's not there, then the judges are going to be almost forced to push other athletes above him. Someone like a Samson Dauda, someone like an Andrew Jacked, and maybe even in some capacities a Hunter Labrada, as he does have a small midsection, and there's nothing that's too overblown, nothing too out of proportion. And that could be why someone like Labrada has been getting favorable placings in the most recent shows. Now, obviously, his placings have been slipping over the last 3 years, but that is not what we're talking about right now. Right now, we're going to stick with Big Ramy, Nick Walker, and possibly a Michal Krizo. Now, looking at Nick Walker, this is a guy that did not leave the door open. He did not slam the door shut, but he did not get as Bob Ciccarello, however he wants to say his name, right? Samson did not wax anyone in that top four. Samson came in good. Samson looked great. Did he knock off the champ? No. Samson came in a little soft, but harder than he did at the Olympia. Now, to be fair, and I know you're probably going to start commenting now, Nick Walker did come in a tad bit smaller at the Arnold Classic compared to this year's Olympia, or the 2022 Olympia, right? As the 2023 Olympia does not happen till October. He did come in a little bit smaller, and that's because he was having some health issues. He was not able to keep food down one of the days. If I remember correctly, of course, please let me know in the comment sections below. But he did say that he was sick. He was having intestinal evacuations, if you will, be so bold. Or it was some sort of food vomiting, poisoning type of a situation. It was coming out one or both of the ends, if you will. And that was around prejudging or finals when he was being sick. So you can imagine that someone coming off of a third place finish at the Olympia, moving into the Arnold Classic, he's not going to be able to look as complete, as sharp, as crisp and full as he needed to be. And if you were to be skeptical, if you were to be overcritical, if you will, he possibly could have left the door open when you think about if he's being sick. But it wasn't a strategic move. It wasn't something that he made a decision to look worse than the Olympia. And again, it comes down to that conversation, you know, as we switch back to my beautiful face. It comes back to that conversation. Did he leave the door open? Was there something missing when it comes to his physique? And I don't know. I don't think he missed it too much. I thought he looked great, especially when I was actually at the show. I thought he looked phenomenal. So let me know your thoughts in the comment sections below. Michal Krizo. Let's keep going with this conversation. Michal Krizo. What about Michal Krizo what part of his physique would the Olympia think is not something that they want to promote? I mean, this guy, he has the freak factor. He's got the flow. He's got the aesthetics. Crazy full arms. One of the most full chests you're going to see on the Olympia stage. His first year at the Olympia and doing that well, he was in the top 16, right? I thought I said top 10 last time. One of you critiqued me on that one, so I do believe that is not true. But he does look great. He looked amazing. I was very happy with what he brought to the Olympia. And shout out to Fernando Arroyo for making this side-by-side comparison, the Elite Pro versus his Olympia debut. There is nothing wrong with Michal Krizo's physique. And although I love Mr. El Gundi, and I hope that he hires me to cover his muscle contest shows, there's nothing wrong, as we switch back to my face, there's nothing wrong with Michal Krizo's physique that would give a inclination that the IFBB, the league, right? Let's just say the league. There's no inclination that, or no thought in my head, no behavior when you look at his physique that the league is going to be moving away from that structure, that flow. Again, he's got the midsection, he's got the arms, he's got the chest. I mean, what does he not have? Again, his first Olympia. And we're going to start having rhetoric that he's not going to be favored when he comes into pro shows. This physique wins pro shows. Especially look at the European Tour. Any of those Grand Prix, any of those pro shows. If he shows up, I don't think there's going to be very many people overseas that is going to compete with this level of fullness and completeness. He has the height. He's got the tiny midsection. He's got legs from the front and the back. Very complete, very competitive bodybuilder. I completely disagree with Olympia TV if that's the conversation that they had. Of course, just going off of, as you can see by the timestamp, I only got about a quarter of the way through the bad news for Nick Walker, Big Ramy, and Michal Krizo. But if judges, literally top Olympia, top pro judges, are saying that Michal Krizo is not going to be rewarded, and they're saying that this physique is not going to be rewarded at pro shows in Olympia in 2023, there needs to be another conversation. Again, there's nothing wrong with this physique. Let me know down below if I'm way off, if I'm being crazy, if I'm being a silly goose here. Y'all need to let me know. But in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with Michal Krizo's physique. They also mentioned Brandon Curry. Was another conversation. And I've been pretty critical about Brandon Curry. I don't think he has good legs. I think from the back, he has the worst legs in the top 16 last year's Olympia. Even this year's Olympia, I thought he had the worst legs there. He like we talked about on the Two Bros One Pod, episode 7, we just posted yesterday, or 2 days ago technically when I post this, there was a conversation with me and Mark's Max Muscle. We talked about how Brandon Curry played the size game. He thought, okay, I'm going to come into this Olympia. I'm going to compete with Big Ramy. Why he thought that was a good idea, I don't know. He went into the Arnold Classic last year, got gifted an Arnold Classic win, in my opinion, of course. Now the lineup wasn't as deep as this one. If he was in this lineup, boy, I don't think he'd be in top 5, because he has not brought conditioning since 2019, 2018, whatever year he brought the yellow posing trunks. I think it was the year, was it the year Phil came back? You guys will let me know. Let me know in the rewatch. Let me know in the comment sections below what your favorite year was for Brandon Curry. Now, do I think Brandon Curry's done? Do I think Brandon Curry is cooked? Absolutely not. I think he is a Mr. Olympia champion, same as Big Ramy. And heck, if Dexter Jackson came back, I think he could still win shows. Maybe, if he picked the right one. Dexter Jackson's getting a little old. But Brandon Curry could win any pro show he wants if he wanted to go that route. Now, is he going to humble himself and win pro shows to maybe add some hype to his name? I don't know. Is he going to come back to an Arnold Classic? That is what he said he was going to do. So he will be back for the 2024 Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio. Is he going to make the improvements? Is he going to make the corrections needed to be competitive in a very, very stacked 2024 Arnold Classic lineup? That's going to be a conversation that we'll have to address after the Olympia, after the Romania Pro, after the Masters Olympia in Romania, the Prague Pro over there, all those end of the year shows. That's when we're going to start having that conversation, is what strategy is Brandon Curry going to need to implement to still be relative in the pro leagues. And that's my take on Brandon Curry. Do I think he's still competitive? Yes. Do I think he's going to win another Mr. Olympia? I don't think so. I'm going to probably go on record and say no. Can he win another Arnold Classic? Yes, if he brings the conditioning and the package that he brought the year where he wore the yellow posing trunks and did the bald head. If he brought that package with obviously the improvements that a pro brings throughout the years of improving with the off season, if he's able to put on a healthy 3-4 personal, preferably 5 pounds of muscle every year, bring that conditioning, bring the improvement with the physique, the lean muscle tissue added, Brandon Curry can be competitive in the 2024 Arnold Classic if he does those things. All right, hot takes out of the way. Let's see, where are we at? 20 minutes? Let's talk about Hunter Labrada real quick. He's been posting some physique updates. Ben Shao, his coach, showing off exactly what Hunter Labrada is doing, how he's looking right now. I like Hunter Labrada's chances of improving. Now, it is a very interesting conversation for this guy because he places 4th at a Mr. Olympia and then places 9th this year, something like that, or even farther back than that. So his placings slipped consistently. And I'll be honest, I watched a Mark's Max Muscle video just a couple days ago, and he was showing, and we actually talked about this on the show, so, oh man, that's not even how you spell it. Right here, Hunter Labrada, 2021 versus 2022. Sorry, Mark. When you look at Hunter Labrada's package, the physique, the conditioning from last year's Olympia to this year's Olympia, there was improvements. He did look better. I mean, this one's kind of a wash because it's not the same pose. But look at the conditioning. I don't know if we can make this quality any better. There we go. That's much better. The conditioning, I think, is a little better from the front. Now he's flexing the pecs a little too much, as you can see here. Here, let's get you full screen. He's flexing the pecs a little too much this year. And that kind of makes it, it makes the pec tear look a little bit more obvious. Let's be honest. And it makes the chest look not as full. Now, he definitely could use a little bit more upper chest here. Him and Sean Clarida, the reigning two-time 212 Mr. Olympia champion. He could use a little bit more chest here. But this is a really nice flowing physique. I can't say anything wrong about what I'm seeing here. From the side, it looks okay. There's nothing that stands out too much. It's a very balanced, very complete physique. And to be fair, I shouldn't be upset with the guy because he placed fourth. It's not like he made the judges give him that fourth place finish. Now, if his father paid off the judges to do that, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think we need to start moving away from that rhetoric. I don't think it's beneficial to him. And it in my opinion, and me personally, it does kind of create this environment of hostility towards a guy that debatably and possibly he didn't do anything wrong. From the back, this is where it's a game changer. And Hunter, if you're listening, if you're watching, I'm sure you don't watch my content, but you did a great job coming into the 2022 Mr. Olympia, especially in the conditioning and the hamstrings. Now the oil is better, the tan is better, the lighting is better at the 2022 Mr. Olympia, but I thought that you did a great job with the tools that you had, with the liquid diet, with the, the pushback between you and your coach, and now you're all on board, right? You just got done with that Israel trip. You're taking it seriously. You're walking around with your meals at the Arnold Classic. You're doing what you need to do to make the improvements in 2023. I salute you, sir, for doing that. I'm hoping, and I won't say praying because that's not my thing, but I am hoping that you do make the improvements and you do qualify for this Olympia, because how much more fun would it be if we got to see Hunter Labrada, Ian Valliere, and Nick Walker in the same call out again? Imagine if that were to happen again. And Mark's Max Muscle, if you're watching, definitely make that comparison for us. Now, this was an interesting critique. The hips are a little shifted here, so it's a little different, and it's hard to make that critique. But if you have not watched Mark's video on this one, definitely do. I'm sure this video has plenty. 17,000 views. Please watch Mark's Max Muscles video here. 40,000 subscribers. Do I think, again, let's finish out this live stream. Do I think Hunter Labrada is going to be competitive in the 2023 season? I think so. I think he could probably win a pro show. Now, I think I did say on record probably maybe a few weeks ago, I don't think he could win an Arnold Class, or he could win a pro show. That might have been a little jaded, maybe. I think I'm kind of shifting my mindset as I'm starting to move into this new apartment. And I do want to give these athletes the benefit of the doubt and give them the opportunity to compete before we critique. And when we look at these other people that are possibly paid by the league to make conversations, to make this rhetoric about pushing a certain narrative of what type of physique build is going to be rewarded and looked at and give a favorable look, versus someone who's maybe more Jay Cutler-esque, Nick Walker-esque, Carlos Thomas-esque. You think about those shorter, complete, big Ramy-esque physiques. If the league is saying that they're no longer going to be judging them fairly, what, as a fan, as a commentator and a journalist, which I am all three, what do we here on BNN, the People's Voice in Bodybuilding, what do we do to adjust the trajectory of the league? How do we tell them that them not judging things fairly is wrong and we're not going to support it without, listen closely, without hurting financially or mentally or emotionally athletes and promoters? Because in my honest opinion, I don't think promoters are doing things to intentionally not harm, but unfavor athletes. I genuinely think it is certain families and certain people within the league that are making this rhetoric, that is creating this conversation. And I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's fair to hardworking pros that are out there that are dieting hard to come into these shows, and then for them to not get an equal and fair look is wrong. Now, if that is what's going on right now, there needs to be a course correction. Now, I don't know how we do that. I don't know how we validate whether or not this is actually happening, but myself, other YouTube commentators, other pros within the league, we're going to continue to make this conversation if we have top judges and the voice of bodybuilding pushing certain rhetoric that is not favorable and fair to all competitors of different physiques, especially when you look at someone who's top 3 at the Olympia and you're saying that that look is no longer going to be favored, I think is wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Josh Sanch, here on the Bodybuilding News Network. Thank you for joining this live stream. We did not get a lot of conversating in the comment sections below, but we will work to get these live streams out a little bit earlier in the day. I know it's probably almost midnight on the East Coast, so that is fair that not so many people jumped in. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm your host, Josh Sanch, as always. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you fine people in the next one.